This is a question that I always struggle with. Now, organic's really hard, and Grace, I know you take a lot of really difficult classes too. And when you are in a class and it's so difficult, that idea of a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset of I'm an organic, it's really hard. So this means that I'm not good enough, or this isn't an area where I can thrive. So I'm going to do something else. Uh, how do you process the idea of it being difficult and not wanting to weather how challenging it is, and it being difficult and me not liking it?
Right. I think for me at least, it was like the idea of like whenever in a lot of my really hard classes, I will very much pay close attention in lecture because everything the professor says is very interesting to me. Like even though the concept is so insanely difficult that it might keep me up for 3 days, like it's interesting. But whenever I was in Orgo, I would like doze off during class. Like nothing the professor said made me want to be there. And I think that's the real difference for me, at least, between like being difficult and wanting to weather through it and being difficult and just realizing it's not something that I like or want to do.
I also think I would add that like expectations going in is a big thing. Like if you go into a class thinking that it's going to be like high school where you're like just going to be able to kind of half listen and still understand everything completely, like that's not the right mindset to be entering the class in. And I think that sets you up for failure. If you go into the class like knowing, expecting that this stuff's going to be hard and that you're not going to completely understand it all the time, and having the mindset that you don't have to work alone all the problem sets and things, like there are other people who are struggling too, then that sets you up to be a lot better in that class, whether that class is a class that you enjoy or it's a class you don't enjoy. It's just better to have realistic expectations coming in, because like we've been talking about, at a place like Stanford, it's filled with people who, were valedictorians and never got a B or never even got an A minus or anything. But at Stanford, like, or any university for that matter, it's harder to do something like that. And if you go into college expecting that everything's going to be as easy as it was in high school, like you're probably kidding yourself, unless you're like a major genius. But it just makes it easier in classes to not have those unrealistic expectations to begin with, in my opinion.